Thank you. I first would like to thank the League of Movers of Casper, as well as the Public Library for inviting us here. It was a great forum. Good evening. I'm John Lawson. I don't know if you may have heard of me before. I was the area manager for the Bureau of Reclamation for 23 years here, and recently retired. I've noticed that people are talking about either third or fourth generation Wyomingites. We moved here 25 years ago. My lovely wife, of going on 44 years of marriage. We have two sons. One has taken complete advantage of the university system here, and I paid for 8 years of tuition. But he did graduate. He's a resident of Natrona County in Casper, and he's married. We have a lovely daughter-in-law and our new grandson that's living here. When we moved here 25 years ago, we fell in love with Casper. I actually grew up in a small town called Great Falls, Montana, and it's almost identical mirror image of Casper, both physically and demographics. So our intent was to stay here. That's what our intent will still be, to stay here and serve the citizens of the county. A little bit about myself, other than being just the area manager. I also was educated in Montana. I graduated from Montana State in civil engineering. I've had the opportunity to work with very complex public issues over my career, particularly with federal, state, and local entities. The agency I worked for was not an enforcement agency, it was a development agency. So many of the problems that I dealt with, the same problems that you citizens in the county are dealing with when it comes to permitting, getting through the environmental processes, familiarity with what effects on water quality, water rights. I have extreme.
You're out of time, Mr. Lawson.
Thank you.
Lawson, 1 minute to answer, please.
Thank you. December theme, rapid growth, infrastructure, and by infrastructure, I'm talking about the county has approximately 800 miles of roads. It's suffering from the same problems that this nation suffered from, and that is old infrastructure that has to be maintained, has to be brought up to more current standards, and property rights. And all this fits into a land use plan that's being updated. It will be updated by the county commissioners, and that land use plan will address, hopefully, many of the issues regarding zoning, how commercial, residential, and industrial will fit in, and also how it affects the agriculture area too, if we start expanding out into the agriculture area. My theme would be this, and it was in my career as well. It has to be an inclusive process. I think the county commissioners, and if I was one of them, would encourage that we be far more proactive in seeking input, rather than just holding a meeting, but actually going out and seeking input to assure that when we're making a decision, that decision is being made with all the information that should be made, that is available, and their workshops. Now, for the last 3 to 4 months, I don't believe I've missed any. It's been very enlightening. It's been a learning process for me. So when asked what the citizens want, that's one area that you can start finding information in a readily way. With regard to the time, I would agree with Mr. Pad. It is rather intense. It's going to take considerable amount of time. From my perspective, I have the time. I definitely have the passion for it, and I believe I have the expertise to bring to the table to assist the other 4 commissioners with regard to the many issues that are going to be before them in the near future.
Thank you.
The next question will start with Mr. Lawson. Storage of vehicles has been an issue over the past several years, where the rights of one property owner were apparently pitted against the rights of adjoining property owners. As zoning changes are made and planning issues are discussed, what's your philosophy on working with the citizens who bring forth challenges to change?
Thank you. As a matter of fact, ironically, I was talking to two different gentlemen that had to remove their vehicles because of some current policies. And I asked them, I said, well, do you feel that there's a fair process and you're being heard? And at least they felt that they weren't. So my philosophy, which you asked, is this is where we need to be more proactive in seeking out all the information, having meetings, having a community meeting with regard to what the problem is and how it could be resolved in a collaborative way. I believe what's happening now is that a good many citizens are not believing that they are being heard or they're having their input. Now, maybe that doesn't mean they're going to get their way, but they do want to be able to have their input. I do entirely agree with long-range planning. The important thing is to be able to take this report that was just provided to the commissioners and be able to take it out to the public and have the public give further input with regard to how this report should be used as far as modifying the 98 land use plan. There was 9 areas that were identified for future development, or potential future development, whether it be residential or industrial or rural development. I think that you need public input on it. And I think before there's a finalization of any updated land use plan, it's absolutely necessary to have these neighborhood meetings and actually be very proactive in seeking input before giving the impression that the plan has been completed and fully adopted.
Mr. Lawson.
Well, as one would expect, I definitely would support it. And there's a lot of reasons for it, other than the fact that it's such a jewel, and this is why people want to live in this area, to be able to go out to Pathfinder or Alcoa or the mountain. Here's the beauty of it, though, is the revenues that are coming off that, especially in Alcoa, such as the trailer revenues, the cabin revenues, the boat club revenues, and that. All those revenues then can be used right there, or can be used on Pathfinder or Gray Reef as well, under the agreement that they have with Reclamation. It gives local control and gives a guaranteed revenue stream. That if you didn't have that agreement, if Reclamation was managing it, Reclamation would be subject to federal appropriations, and I don't have to tell you what that process is like, okay? This is the same agreement, by the way, that the state parks have. As a matter of fact, the original agreement was a state park agreement. What I'm familiar with, they do a very, very good job. We also find ways to leverage money or do it with in-kind services. I think Rotary Park is a good example. There is a tremendous amount of investment that's being made, and it's all by contribution through the Rotary Club, working with the Parks Department. I think they find other ways to leverage money as well. They can work with game and fish, such as developing boat docks, where they can actually get game and fish and wildlife monies to also assist in developing things like that out the lakes. More of that, I would encourage more of that in the future, but I would have to say that they do an excellent job.
Mr. Lawson.
Well, everything that was said I have to agree with, and I truly do support the 10% tax. I actually would like to build on what Mr. Todd just had to say. I don't believe that you should just across the board start taking reductions. I think you have to really look at your budget, start having a plan, and look at what the priorities are. Public safety is an absolute necessity with Sheriff's Department. Things to do with public safety with the roads. By laying out a plan in advance and having a reduction plan, that if something like this would happen, or you do not get the PILT funding, there's more than just sales tax involved here, that you have a plan in place that you can then implement without just taking it across the board. The development of, with all the rapid development that's occurring right now, I had heard a statement earlier said one size will not fit all, one size will not fit all. I think the planning and land use plan that's now underway to be updated is going to be a very good start to this. but it's going to have to be something that's going to be continually and dynamically changing as you move along. If you think you're going to just lay out a plan and everybody's going to approve it, and you don't have to go look at it for another 20 years, you're sadly mistaken. It's going to have to be something that's going to have to involve community involvement. It's going to have the stakeholders' involvement on a continuous basis. There's no harder subject than property rights with regard to your property rights versus your neighbor's property rights.
Mr. Lawson.
It does come down to management skills and in large part a collaboration process. There's probably a need to maybe have some scheduled meetings on a more periodic basis, just from the standpoint of sharing information with one another. I believe some of the things that happen out there is the other people don't get the appreciation of what your problems are, and you don't get the appreciation of what their problems are. So through the collaborative process, through the management process, that's how you start developing a trust level and working together.